Yeah, yeah, you know what it is. 140 for the rebel, busy man, shit, nigga. They turn their head over, nigga.
Okay, where Eve did to Adam, I just pray my love don't lie to me. Swing the iron like Samson, I can't let no hoe lie to me. I don't feel these rappers, all they lies is hypocrisy. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Nigga think I'm playing, I don't hear one word they saying, this shit light work. Think Muhammad one of us, he might lose his life first. Circle up and stay alert. Another cop can stretch the nigga. He a demon, this an exorcism. Watch I bless the nigga. You took that open blood, then you know I'm gonna get active with you. From the opposition, I see vision. Let me paint the picture. Rappers can they spit, and I ain't listening. Is effective. If revenge was a woman, now I scope that bitch like Jacob. I walk, we gonna run the summer. It's gonna be historical. Thought they making plays, made them niggas call the audible. As who run this shit, but their question is rhetorical. Bitch, I'm the one, me cookies with the oil. I'ma get them crackers, hell, should've never kidnapped my family. I can't do that. Bet I be the last nigga standing. Do a life sentence for my niggas, pray you understand me. I might put a switch on this Glock and call it young pay. How you real triggering on them dots? You a bird feeder, claiming he a demon. What's a demon to a cold leader? What he saying something, I ain't hear. This shit like it ain't about who got the gun, it's about who gon' up that fight first. I turn a bad situation to a game change. Bring soldiers from the dead, just raised up the chain. Bring shots, I'ma look like Aaron Jones when I run it. Never bite the hand that feeds you, you'll never get that hand back. He bitching about 10%, I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him, just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with us, probably cause he never was. Now my chin like you with the angels for your brothers. Everybody won't be Richard Porter, God kill him like Alpo. Play if he want, it's laying in the trunk like Lee Malvo. A certified woman's ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, I with that hollow side, yeah, this the rim accord. Feel like Gullah Jack when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still up on my bread, still I think that's all that I do. The way I get it, boy, lost, they gon' start to call him Elroy. Fuck his game, pop out on them demons like I'm Hellboy.
Hey, Shalom Israel, Yabashim Yashar, welcome to the brothers, Yashim Malatham, Bashim Yashar to the sisters. I'm Police Officer Parak, holding down the Wednesday law class for the ISUPK out of Arizona. All right, if you're watching online, you can see at the very bottom of the screen our class location, which is 12416 North 28th Drive. We're on the corner of 28th Drive in Cactus. All right, if you're in the Phoenix area, make sure you come check us out. We out here every Tuesday through Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. And then, of course, our Sabbath services, which is every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, all right? So today's topic we're going to go into is being double-minded, right? Specifically, a call to action to not be double-minded. That's what today's class is going to be focused on, all right? In America, right, it's very easy to be a double-minded person because that's Western society and American society is to be double-minded. We'll get all of the understanding of what it means to be double-minded within the scriptures, but basically, somebody that's double-minded is somebody that's not firm, somebody that's not solid, right? They're a leaf in the wind, which is exactly what America teaches you to be. It teaches you to be a leaf in the wind. Do whatever you want to do. You really have no standard, you understand? And that's what so many people are. And this class is specifically designed to address that and to show you how not to be, and then to show you also, of course, how to be, how you should conduct yourself, especially if you want to be in this truth. You cannot be double-minded, right? And we're going to get all of the supporting scriptures for that, all right? So we're going to start in the book of Proverbs, all right? We're going to start in the book of Proverbs, the 4th chapter. We're going to start at verse 20, all right? So beginning with verse 20, it says, My son, attend to my words, incline thine ear to my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart. This is the first guideline on how not to be double-minded, how to be solid and sturdy, right? You have to understand that the words that are in this Bible, the wisdom and the knowledge and the laws, statutes, and commandments that you find in this Bible, they need to be at the forefront of your life forever. Once you come into this knowledge of this truth, you're going to have to put it into your mind that there is now no other way to live, there's no other way to think. It's as simple as that. And that's tough for a lot of people to do, but that's what you're going to have to do. These laws, statutes, and commandments, the wisdom, the knowledge, everything that you find in this Bible is going to have to be it right here in front of your face forever. Right? It says, let them not depart from thine eyes. It's all you see, right? Keep them in the midst of thine heart. It's all that you think about. You understand? Verse 20, let me see, verse 22. For they are life unto those that find them. These scriptures give you life. You understand? That's these scriptures. The scriptures give you life. The scriptures say in the book of Proverbs that we're reading in, and also in the book of Deuteronomy and all throughout the Bible, you can find that keeping the law, statutes, and commandments is life. That's how you live. There is no other way to live. You understand? There's no way around it, right? It's life unto them that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to be diligent in this truth. Once you find out the right thing to do, you can't never step away from it. And on the topic of being double-minded, so many people believe that you can waver. So many people think that they have so much time, right? So much time to get themselves together. You got to understand. Listen, what we see happening right now in the United States of America, we see all the things that's happening, right? You understand? We see what's happening to our brothers. We just saw our brother get murdered brutally by the police. Shot 60 times, shot at 90 times, and then he was hit 60 times. And even after they killed that brother, murdered that brother in the coldest way, they ran up on that brother as he's dead, laid out with 60 shots, unrecognizable. The stories that I've heard about the way that this brother looked after they murdered this man. Unrecognizable. They come up on him and they put cuffs on him after they just shot him 60 times. This is how much your oppressor hates you. You think you have time really to screw around? You shouldn't. You understand? Even a blind man could see that there's not too much time for you to jerk around doing whatever the hell you think you should do. Being double-minded is not an option. You're going to have to get right today, now. All right, let's keep going. Verse 24 says, Put away from thee a froward mouth, and perverse lips put far from thee. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. This is what you're going to have to understand about being in the truth and being single-minded. You're going to have to look dead on, meaning there's the kingdom of heaven right in front of you. Chase that. Because to the left and to the right, you know what there is? There's drugs and getting high like you love. Over here is some women that you have a lust problem with. Ain't nothing wrong with loving women, but some brothers have the worst lust problem. I mean, they can't handle themselves. You understand? That's to the right. The drugs is to the left. You understand? Birthdays and Christmas, those sentimental things that you love so much, that's to the left. You understand? You're going to have to look dead center at what's right in front of you, which is the kingdom of heaven. That's what we're chasing. And you cannot be double-minded and achieve the kingdom of heaven. It's impossible. You won't be able to do that. That's why Solomon is doing an excellent job at putting it right into perspective for you so you can understand what you must do if you want to achieve that. Right? You're going to have to be single-minded and put this book and everything that's contained inside of it, put it right in front of you and keep your eyes right there. You heard this, you know how people always say there's the saying, keep your eyes on the prize? Well, that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to keep your eyes on the prize, because if you look to the left or to the right, you're going to find yourself wandering off and wavering one way or the other, and you're never going to get that prize. You understand? All right. So now let's keep reading, right? Verse 26. Ponder the path of thy feet. Watch your foot, man. Watch where you walking. Watch what you're doing. Pay attention. Don't let yourself wander to the left or to the right, right? And let all thy ways be established. Meaning be firm on what you believe. Basically what? Take a stance. Now, here's what I don't mind. And the Lord doesn't mind it either. You can take the stance that you just want to be in the world. Just do that. Or you can take the stance that you're going to be in the truth and you're going to serve God. But being in the middle, that's a tough one. Christ himself said what? In the book of Revelations, he said he would rather that you be hot or cold. Hot meaning for the Most High in this truth, solid, or cold, outside of the truth, doing whatever you want. Everybody's doing it anyway. But what you can't be is lukewarm. He said if you're lukewarm, he'll spew you out of his mouth. What does lukewarm mean? Lukewarm means, yeah, I'm in the truth, but I still kind of get high sometimes. That's in the middle, and that's you being double-minded. You understand? Or you in and out, constantly in and out. You straddling the fence. You want to be in the truth, but then you want to get high. You want to be in the truth, but I still like white women. I want to be in the truth, but I can't give up birthdays. You understand? I'm gonna disappoint my mother, my father. I'm gonna disappoint my kids, my family. That's you being double-minded. You're gonna have to be single-minded. Either you get the hell out of here and you do whatever it is that you want to do in the world, or you be in the truth and be in the truth. And you're gonna have to keep your foot. You're gonna have to keep your foot established. It's gonna have to be what it is, and that's it, right? It says, "Turn not to the right hand nor to the left," and that's what you can't do. You can't go to the left or to the right. You're going to have to be right here, right where you need to be. Anything outside of that is evil. And here's the thing about the Bible before we move on. The thing about the Bible is this. It's always like what we're reading here. You see how you get two choices? You either are doing it or you're not. It's the same way that Christ said, let your yea be yea or your nay be nay. Anything else that cometh instead of these things is evil. I mean, you got two choices, yes or no. Scripture say in the book of Deuteronomy, I believe it's the 30th chapter, right? With Moses. Moses said, I bear record before the angels in heaven that I set before you life and death. There was no other choice. That's it. Well, what this scripture is saying is you either have the truth or you have a lie. You either serve God or you don't. But there is no in between. And so you're really going to have to make sure that you understand that. Unless you don't want to understand it, that's fine. Just understand that you are going to fall out of the truth, or you're never going to come in. However that happens, whichever one of those things happen first. All right. So let's get the book of James. Now we're going to get where you find where this entire class stems from. I wanted to read that first because I want to set the stage with that because that's really what the focus is. Understand the class is about being double-minded and how not to be double-minded, but the basis and the foundation of what you want to understand is the fact that you can't turn to the left or to the right. You understand? You're going to have to set this truth right in front of you and keep it there and chase it forever and chase nothing else. So we're going to be in James, the first chapter. All right, so James, the first chapter, we're going to start at verse 5, all right? It reads, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. So if you want wisdom, understand that the only place that you're going to find it is in this Bible. That's the only place that you're going to find wisdom. Anything outside of this Bible and outside of the truth and outside of the Spirit of the Most High is not wisdom. Your OG that brought you up, he didn't give you any wisdom. He might have been able to tell you, how to hit a lick. He might have been able to tell you how to stay away from them niggas and watch them when they come here. That's fine if you want to live a survivor's life. If you want to live the type of life where you're in survival mode 100% of the time, that's fine. But this Bible is going to teach you how to establish the kingdom of heaven. Where now you're no longer in survival mode. You're going to rule the face of this planet. That's what can happen. Seems far-fetched. I totally understand that. I totally understand how far-fetched that may seem. But a lot of other things that have been far-fetched have come to pass. And so you should put your faith in this one. And that's what James is talking about. He's saying that you should ask the Most High. If you don't have wisdom, ask it of the Most High. because some wicked nigga or some wicked bitch on the street is going to teach you the wrong thing. It happens all the time. The same cats that you looked up to when you was younger, or maybe still do now, they're going to get you killed or themselves killed or somebody else killed because they don't have true wisdom. It only comes from the Most High. All right. Verse 6 says, but let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. This is the thing. When you come to the Most High and you ask for those things, you're going to have to understand. You can't get wisdom from the Most High and still think that you can get wisdom from D-Mac up the block. It don't work like that. You can't be double-minded. You're going to have to be of a single mind and understand that this is the home of the truth. This is where I go for all of my problems. This is where I get counsel. This is what I do in any time of need. It can't be two things. And so many people live their lives another way. They live their life, yeah, man, I can do whatever the hell I want. Right? For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. What do you notice about the wind? About the sea when it's real windy out, right? What do you notice? You notice that it's reckless. That it's just there's no direction. It's getting pushed this way. It's getting pushed that way. It does whatever the wind tells it to. It just goes wherever the wind goes. And that's y'all when you are double-minded. That's what that is. And so why is that the perfect analogy or the perfect example? Because it has no direction. It's no just, okay, we're just going north. We're just going south. It's going wherever the hell the wind tells it to go. And which is all over the goddamn place. And that's what you're like when you're double-minded. You're all over the place. You're never just solid in one thing. Right? Verse 7 says, for let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. If you're wavering and you think you can just do whatever the hell you want to do, don't expect anything from the Lord. Don't expect a goddamn thing from the Most High. You understand? The Most High doesn't respect that. He doesn't respect a man or a woman that wavers. Somebody who's on the fence. The Most High don't respect that. The Most High respects somebody who's solid. And that's the type of person you're going to have to be. Verse 8 says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And that's why that analogy is so perfect. You're unstable just like the waters when it's a storm outside. When the wind is pushing it to and fro. You're unstable just like that. You're unstable like a leaf in the wind, just whichever way. You understand? That's a double-minded person, and you cannot be that way. You're going to have to be a bit different if you want to be in the truth. See, I understand that America has taught us to just do whatever we want to do. You can be a woman if you want. If you're a man, you can be a woman. If you're a man, you can marry a man. If you want to smoke weed, do it. You want to snort cocaine until your eyes pop out of your face, you can do that too. Everything is okay here in America. You understand? But in the eyes of the Most High, there's only one way to live, and that's it. There's no turning to the left or to the right from that. All right, so let's keep going, right? We're going to skip just a little bit through these chapters in the book of James. We're going to go over to the 4th chapter of James. We're going to start at verse 7, all right? This is I'm just going to use this to carry on into what we just read. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, right? So now James chapter 4 and verse 7. Submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Now, there's a certain way that you got to resist the devil. It's not in the way that Christians teach you. Christians teach you to accept your demons. That's what they tell you to do. That's why homosexuality is okay. They need a choir director. This one's gay. Well, he's just going to have to be able to do it then. I'm not going to teach about it. I'm not going to teach against homosexuality because we need a choir director. You understand? Christianity is the opposite of what the Bible teaches. Because the Bible teaches you to resist the devil, and he's going to flee from you. But you run straight to the devil and embrace your demons, and that's what the Christian church teaches. All right? And that, of course, means that you must be double-minded, because if you can be a homosexual, that's not in the Bible. In the Bible, it says that a homosexual would get put to death. That's what it says. It's not my word. I'm just telling you what the Bible says. That's in the book of Leviticus. All right? But then you also claim to follow the Bible. So which one is it? I'll tell you the point. It's neither. You don't follow anything because you follow everything. You understand? Pray everybody understands that. Verse 8 says, draw nigh to God, and he will draw nigh to you. Cleanse your hands, ye sinners, and purify your hearts, ye double-minded. See, this is what you got to do. You're going to have to do exactly what we just read. If you're a double-minded person, and you're somebody like who we've been talking about, then you're going to have to cleanse your hands. You're going to have to repent. That's all this is talking. You're going to have to turn away from your double-mindedness and find something solid to stand on. That's what you got to do. And if you're a man, you're just going to you should just know to do that. You should just know that there's something in this earth that you should stand firm on. I stand firm on everything I believe. In the UPK, we stand absolutely firm on everything that we believe, and some things are not desirable. You understand? Listen, man, people, oh my God, people think, I want everybody to understand something about us in the UPK, right? I can't speak for any other organization besides the one that I am in and love, and the one that delivered me from the hell that I was facing in the world. All right. People like to say about the ISUPK that we do this because we want to. We do it because, we want to be like a gang and this, that, and the third. They say all of those things, right? Here's what I want everybody to understand. Being in the UPK is probably one of the toughest things to do. And here's why I say that. You can go into the Christian church and say that you serve God, and you can still get high. You can still commit adultery. You can still be homosexual. Any lust that you've ever faced in the world, right, or anything, right, you can do in there. In here, I mean, down to the smallest detail, you're not allowed to do anything that's unlawful. So if you used to be, now I know so many brothers and sisters that was in love with that weed demon, and coming into the school, you can no longer smoke weed. Other places will allow you to be double-minded and pretend to serve God while still smoking a blunt. They'll allow you to do that. You understand? But in here, we don't allow you to be double-minded. So that means that you're going to have to put the blunt down. And for so many people, that's such a tough demon to fight. But you're going to have to fight it. You have to. It's the only way this works. You understand? I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out because I heard a couple of cats on Clubhouse talking earlier about how we just, do this because we get a kick out of it and this, that, and the third. I don't know if you understand. Brothers and sisters come in here going through withdrawals from the things that they was addicted to in the world. We don't do this because, it's just a fun thing to do. We do this because we're going to serve Christ. We're going to do what we have to do to serve the Most High the right way. We don't get to pretend to be soldiers and warriors. The IUIC, they just got beat up by a bunch of old black ladies. The black lady, this old sister, man, she had to been, she was an elder in that church. They be having elders in the Christian churches. Damn old black woman took her damn high heel off and started beating these brothers down with it. So but they also go into the streets and they march and they pretend to be soldiers and they steal the Hebrew Academy lessons that was passed down to Commander General Yohana that only Commander General Yohana has the rights to. They steal those things and pretend like they know what they're doing and pretend to be the Lord's army. But then, they can't even stand up to a bunch of old Christian black women. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. That's double-minded. Can't call yourself a soldier and not be one. You understand? I just wanted to point that out. It's so normal in the black community to be double-minded, right? I don't know if y'all heard about the whole Creflo Dollar thing. Creflo Dollar talking about now you don't have to pay tithes because the entire law is done away with, so you don't have to keep that at all. This man is unstable in all of his ways. Everything about him, Creflo Dollar is just unstable in all of his ways, right? So he stopped having his congregation tithe. But here's the witty thing about what he's done, the crafty thing that he's learned from his oppressor, is that if he tells his congregation that they don't have to tithe anymore, he said it in the sermon that he gave. He said you shouldn't be limited. You shouldn't be limited to 10%. That's the old law. If you want, you should be able to give 10, 20, 30. Go look it up. It's on the video. That man is double-minded. He's unstable in all his ways. And that's how you see a lot of these churches constantly changing their doctrine. Some of these churches would never allow a homosexual into their church. But then with the times, they changed also. Times change, they change. It was this church that I saw growing up, right when the LGBTQ movement, right, or as my brothers like to say, LGTV, right. When that movement started to really kick up, a lot of churches wasn't really having it. A lot of Christian churches, they wasn't really having it. You give it a year, right, and that's what happened. Gave it a year. Some of these same churches that was against homosexuality, they now are flying rainbow banners, which the LGTV community, right, use as their sign or as their symbol. Them same churches is flying them flags because now they're saying, well, hey, homosexuals are allowed to. You understand? That's double-minded. What you can't be is that in the truth. You can be that anywhere else. You just can't be that in the truth. You understand? Um, yeah, it's a cold world out here, man. It's a cold world. Let's see. All right, so this is actually another one I wanted to pull out in the book of Matthew. All right, Christ was very wise. Christ knew exactly what he was talking about all of the time, every time. All right, and he was excellent at being able to explain things, much more excellent than I could ever be. All right, and that's why our foundation, our basis is Christ, because he can break down the scriptures better than any of us can. He broke down exactly what Isaiah meant, exactly what all of the prophets meant, exactly what the laws meant. Brothers and sisters didn't even know what the Sabbath day was supposed to be. Nobody knew the spirit behind the Sabbath day before Christ. Nobody knew the spirit of brotherhood before Christ. Now, brotherhood was in the law. It's in the law of Moses. But brothers and sisters wasn't applying it because they didn't know how to. Christ came on the scene for that very reason, because he had to teach us. Well, he was good at teaching us everything. All right, I'm going to show y'all something specific in regard to what we're talking about tonight, which is that double-mindedness. All right. So, let me see. Where would it be at? All right, so we're going to start in Matthew the 6th chapter. All right. So Matthew 6. We'll start at verse 22. All right, so verse 22 says, "The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thy eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness?" What is this talking about? Your eye it's one member in your body. One member. Member meaning part, right? One body part. Your eye, there's plenty of other body parts. Outside of your eye, you got your mouth, your nose, your ears, you understand, your arms, your legs, your hands, your fingers, all of those things. Those are all parts of your body, but you can focus down into just your eye. And if that one member of your body is dark, then the rest of your entire body is dark. Now, if your eye is single, if it's good, then that means the rest of your body is good. But you can't have a drop of that uncleanness in you. And now, once again, we can just relate it to exactly what we've been talking about. Once again, you can keep all of the laws, all of them. Come to class, everything. If you go home and you light that blunt up, you can't say that you're in the truth. The Lord don't give a damn about anything else that you're doing, because you went home and you did even the, once again, Christ was excellent at breaking these things down. Matthew the 5th chapter, Christ says, if you put away one tittle, one jot, one of the smallest pieces of this law away, then you're going to be least in the kingdom of heaven. You understand that? And everybody needs to understand that. Because if you don't, you're going to think that it's okay to slip up. And that is the spirit of Catholicism and Christianity and religion. That's the spirit of it. And you can't allow yourself to be in that spirit. If we keep reading, it gets worse. Verse 24 says, "No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other." We really have to focus on that part right there. You understand? You can't serve two masters. So now what is the masters that you can serve? Well, if we keep reading, it says you cannot serve God and mammon. So you can't serve the Most High and serve money. You're going to have to pick one. Does that mean that you can never go to work and earn money and buy nice things? No, that's not at all what that means. But some people believe that money is more important than the Most High. Right? So that means that you cannot serve God and money. You can't serve money and love God. And you definitely can't serve God and love money. What does it mean to love money? Somebody that loves money will work on the Sabbath because they want to, not because they're forced to. They will absolutely go and they will find a job that works them 6 days, 7 days out of the week on purpose so they can work on the Sabbath because they don't want to miss out on the money. There's also these damn rappers and all of these people that think that they should be able to just use what, like, think about it like this, right? Think about these entertainers that know that homosexuality is wrong. Think about Nick Cannon that knows homosexuality is wrong. No, well, I don't want to say he knows because I think I just saw something. Salaki, I think I just saw an article. I don't know how true it is, but the sister said that yeah, she walked in on him like wearing her panties or something like that. She was like dressing in her underwear. But regardless, perfect example is Nick Cannon, right? Because he supposedly knows that all those things are wrong. He supposedly knows about, God and the law, the true God, supposedly, right? He knows that the true Jews are black, all of these things. But when his money was touched, when they threatened to take in and out, Salaki, that's how you know I'm in the Southwest, right? When they threatened to take away Wild and Out from him and cut off his money, immediately he went back on everything he said. He said no, the Jews aren't black anymore. I'm sorry, Mr. Rabbi, Jews aren't black. You guys are the Jews, and you guys are good people. He had just went, I think, a week or two before that. The thing that he got in trouble for was because he was saying that the Jews are black, and he was talking about how the Amalekites, or the so-called Jewish man, are not the true Jews. He was going into their filthy history and all of those things. But then, when they threatened his money, of course, what did he do? He decided, well, I need my money more than I need to serve God. So let me apologize. Let me renege on what I said. Which in here, we say what we say and we stand on it. Y'all thought that. I wonder how many people thought General Muhammad was going to apologize and and renege his statement about what he said with Chris Rock and Will Smith. I wonder how many people thought, no, he's going to have to repent from that. No, we stood on it. He stood on it, and we stood on it. You understand? And he gave the breakdown, gave the understanding, and gave how righteous of a lesson that was. And then we moved on, and we don't talk about it anymore. You understand? You know why? Because the things that we say, we mean to say. And we say them, and we do them, and that's it. And we stand on them. That's it. You understand? And we serve the Most High. We only have one master. No man can have two masters. Christ just said it. So we can't serve y'all and serve God. Like, we're not going to bend to, the so-called Israelite community, or whoever the hell has something to say about what we say. We don't give a damn. They have something to say. It's always something new. They had something to say about the vaccines. They had something to say about what Commander General Yohanan said. They had something to say about everything. You understand? All the time. We don't ever say, oh, no, we was wrong for that. No, we were right. That's why we said it. You understand? And that's because we serve the Most High, not the Israelite community. Whatever the hell that means. You understand? Not the Christian church, not anybody. We don't serve anything besides the Most High. And that's why we stand on what we said. And we're the perfect example, if you really want to look at it that way. We're the perfect example as to what it means to be single-minded. Everybody else is double-minded. Listen, I hate to bring this out. No, I don't. I love to bring it out. I want everybody to understand something, right? This whole unity camp thing that these cats got going on, that's being double-minded. There's no way that I'm going to go to war and stand on a podium and teach that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the children of Israel, our oppressors, the devil that the Bible speaks of, and that's that. I would never go and teach that and then see somebody get on after me saying, oh yeah, God loves everybody. Teaching that God loves everybody. That's being double-minded. I'd never do that. I would never attend some sort of unity camp where we got different doctrines. A unity camp where you think we not in the new covenant. And I believe we are. And I know we are. I couldn't do that. I couldn't go to a unity camp where you say, well, we can have sex with heathens. And then when I go up to go blaze on that podium, I'm calling out all of the brothers that got these dogs, the brothers that got these white women with them. I'm blazing on interracial marriage scriptures, cutting to the bone. But then the cat that came up just before me, he don't believe that. I can't do that. And the reason why is because I'm not double-minded. But if you go to them unity camps and you're around doing that same thing, that's double-mindedness. You can't be like that. You're going to have, the scriptures say that you got one body and one spirit. If your spirit says that you can have sex with white women, and my spirit says that you cannot, then there's a problem there. The scriptures say, can two walk together lest they be agreed? Absolutely not. We can't walk together. And if you say that you can, then you're coming up against this Bible. And honestly, that just means that you're double-minded. That's the whole class is about. That's what we're talking about. That's what this is. All right. So now let's get another scripture. We're not going to stay too long on this. I mean, the class won't be ridiculously short, but I mean, how much more can we? I mean, this is it. You understand? Let's get the book of Second Peter now. Let's get the book of 2 Peter 2. All right. Let's see. Start. So let's get verse. Let's see, because I don't want to read the whole chapter. I really wanted to read the whole chapter, but for time's sake, I would rather hone in on the point. Okay, so let's use just to use for the point here. Let's use verse 16. Well, I guess we can start at 15. So let's use those two. All right, so we're gonna read First Peter. That's like it. 2 Peter. Let's see something real quick. Cause I got First Peter on here. Okay. 2 Peter. So lock it. That was a confusion. 2 and 19. That made more sense. I do want to read 1 Peter 2 and 15, right? So 1 Peter 2 and 15, for so is the will of God, that with well doing ye may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men, as free, and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of God. This is what can happen sometimes in the truth as well, right? Listen, sometimes people will do this, not in the UPK, you understand? But people will use the liberty of Christ as a cloak of maliciousness. Meaning, it's almost like, if you think about it like this, right? Think about somebody that is righteous over much, all right? Somebody that claims that they have the truth, claims that they're serving God. You can look at any Christian for this example, right? In the truth, you're going to start to notice these things. That these people are utilizing what they say is the truth for their service to God as an excuse to treat other people a certain way. You understand? That's also somebody who's double-minded, because on one hand they're saying that they're servants of God, they love God, but then on the other hand they're not following 1 John the 2nd chapter, which says that if you love the Most High, you have to love your brother, and you have to treat your brother a certain way. There's a certain guideline on that, right? So I did want to bring that out, but then let's just jump right on over to 2 Peter, the 2nd chapter, all right? And we're going to read verse 19. Staying on the whole liberty topic, right? While they promise them liberty, they themselves are the servants of corruption. For of whom a man is overcome, of the same is he brought in bondage. So now think about this for 2 seconds, right? Think about a Christian pastor that promises you liberty. That promises you, as long as you pay these tithes, or you pay these offerings, and you repent and love God, you will receive liberty. You will receive grace. You'll receive the kingdom of heaven, right? They themselves are servants of corruption. They have no right to tell you how to serve God. Like, that's the truth. They have no right to tell you how to serve God at all, because they don't serve God. And we really got to focus on that. Like, just going back to the Creflo Dollar thing, he has no right to tell you whether or not you should pay tithes. He should tell you not to pay tithes and not give him any more money because he doesn't deserve it. Because he's not a priest, because he's not a man of God, because he's not the one that should be taking any money from brothers and sisters and doing anything with it, because he's not fit, because he's not chosen by the Lord. But he's the one that tells you how to receive liberty from the Most High when he doesn't even serve God. We just read in Matthew. He doesn't serve God. He serves mammon. He serves money, the money that he took from your poor grandmother. You understand? And your poor auntie and all of the poor people in your family and probably you that paid for that $1 million jet, 24, 64 million, some crazy number that I can't even count in my head. He's the one telling you how to serve God, and he don't even know how to do it. And you know how listen, you know how you should be able to just kind of, you should be able to just focus on exactly what he's doing. You should be able to see that he don't even know whether you should pay tithes or not. Like, he doesn't know. He ain't even got it figured out. And you're trusting your life. Now, obviously, I'm using that as an example, but he does know whether you should pay tithes or not. He knows that you should not be paying tithes. That's what he knows in his head. And I'm not saying that's true, because tithes is biblical and it's lawful. But in his mind, because he teaches that the law is done away with, he knows that it doesn't make sense to be telling people that they must pay tithes. My point is, on the other hand, you sit in that audience. This man is wavering like a goddamn, like a fish on a hook, telling you, oh, well, you got to pay tithes. Well, now you don't have to pay tithes. No, you can't pay tithes. Go from telling you got to keep, because he used to teach that you got to keep the 10 Commandments. He used to teach that. Now he teaches you don't have to keep the 10 Commandments, which means that's the bare minimum. I mean, that's the bare minimum. I don't know what. So now, if you're telling me that we don't have to keep the 10 Commandments, that means that I can murder, I can steal, I can have sex with your wife. You understand? Women can have sex with multiple men. You don't have to honor your mother and your father. You don't have to keep the Sabbath day, which they wasn't doing anyway. You understand? All of those I can covet. All of those things you can do. I don't know. That's crazy to me. My point is, this man obviously doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He switches up his doctrine like the daily newspaper. You understand? But anyway, here's my point. My point is that a man like that is unstable. He's double-minded. You should never follow a man like that. You should follow a man like Commander General Yohana, who, since 1984, he came into this truth. What is that, 30, 40? I don't even know how long ago that was. I don't want to do the math. I'm terrible with math. All I know is he's been in the truth a lot longer than a lot of y'all have been alive. And definitely, 100% sure about this, he's been in the truth longer than you have. You understand? I'll take it a step further. He's been in the truth longer than anybody, because he's the only one that stayed. When everybody else left the school in the 90s, he stayed. He's got 20 years on anybody who could ever say that they was in the truth. Think about that. That's who I'm going to trust. And the reason why is because he hasn't changed since then. He hasn't changed. He's still doing the same thing. Still teaching the same thing. And for them cats to say that we not, trust me, I know exactly what we talk and what we teach. We teach the same thing, and that's what it is. We're not double-minded. All right? We're not double-minded. We teach exactly what we're supposed to teach. We do exactly what we say we're supposed to do, and that's it. We don't waver to the right or to the left. We haven't come up with some doctrine that says now, never mind, you can now smoke marijuana. Never mind, we're not in the new covenant. Never mind, we're actually allowed to have sex with any nation of people we want. We just got to call them concubines. No, we don't do that, because that's not true, and we stick to the truth. All right? All right, so now, let's get a couple more on this topic. Okay. Okay, let's do this. We're going to do, we'll go to the book of Ezra, all right? to the book of Second Ezra, 6th chapter. All right, let's see. Bear with me 1 second. So we're actually in the 7th chapter, so lock it. All right, that's exactly what we need. All right, so we're going to read 2nd Ezra, the 7th chapter. We're going to start at the 6th verse. All right, and this is what we're going to close the class out with. And I just want everybody to really hone in on what's being said here. And I'm going to break it down, but as we read it, pay attention to the words, because this right here is probably the best way you can describe your path in the truth and what you must do. All right, so 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 6 says, "There's also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things." Now, this is a city that you want to go to because it's full of all good things. This is the place that you want to be, this city that's builded, right? Verse 7. "The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water." So now you got to envision this, right? This place is a place that you really want to go to, but it's narrow. Think about the skinniest hallway you've ever walked down. Now, that doesn't seem like nothing, right? Because there's walls on either side. But imagine instead of the walls on either side of that skinny, narrow hallway, you got fire on the left and you got raging waters on the right. Understand? Or excuse me, the deep raging waters on the left and the fire on the right. It's going to be tough to make it to that place that you want to get to. You understand? You're going to have to tiptoe across through that narrow path to be able to make it into the place that you want to go. This city that's built, that's beautiful, that's full of good things. Verse 8 says, "And one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once." Now that's tough, right? The only way to get to this place is you're going to have raging waters on the left hand and fire on the right hand, meaning, and the path is narrow. You understand? It's an extremely narrow path for you to be able to walk through. Well, you can try to get to that city, just understand that it's a dangerous walk, because if you slip up and you fall, you're going to fall either into this water and drown, or you're going to fall into that fire and burn up. But either way, if you slip and fall, you're going to die, and you don't get to see that place. That's your walk in the truth. That's why we call it a walk. It's the same thing, because you're walking that narrow path, trying to make it to the kingdom of heaven. That's what that city represents. But it's easy to fall. It's too goddamn easy to fall off. Now those raging waters on the left and that fire on the right, that represents anything that stops you from coming into this truth. It could be your family. Your family could be too much. It could be too much for you to see your family leave you because you decided to come into the truth and serve God. It could be too much for you to leave just the weed alone. It could be too much for you. And that's going to be that thing that destroys you, either that water or that fire. But if you really want to be in the truth and you really want to serve God, and that's what you really want to do, well, you're going to have to walk that narrow path, and you're going to have to be courageous enough and strong enough not to fall over on either side. That's the only way that this works. And that's how you get the kingdom. You think the Lord is just going to give the kingdom to a bunch of lazy bastards who don't want to do anything? Like, you got to work for this thing. You understand? It's not the easiest thing in the world. I told y'all that. But it's something that you must work for if you want it. And that's the spirit that you got to have. That's why, like I said this probably the last 3-4 classes I taught, right? We say no cowards, no excuses for a reason. Y'all think we just being prideful and think we macho men and things like that. You understand? Yes, we the toughest on the block, but that's not what that no cowards thing is talking about only. Being no coward means that you'll never drop your sword. You're never going to leave the truth. You're going to fight through the tough times. When you feel like giving into the whatever less problem that you have, whatever demon that you got going on in your life, you're going to fight it and you're going to win. And that's what no coward is really about. When you're no coward, that means that you're going to fight. You're going to push all the way through to the end. And you're going to fight, you're going to get to that kingdom that the Most High promised you. And he promised it for brothers and sisters like that, the ones that are truly willing to fight for it. If you're not willing to fight, the Lord is not going to give it to you. He's going to let you fall into that water on your left hand and drown to death, or he's going to watch you fall into that fire and burn to death. Either way, you don't get the kingdom. You understand? So what you must do is you must push forward and walk that narrow path, the one that's so small that not only one man at a time can fit through. That's the one you're going to have to walk through. You understand? But let's keep going. It's a little bit more on this, right? Verse 9 says, if this city were now given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? The only way that you can get the kingdom, which is what this is talking about, you're going to have to pass through that danger. You're going to have to walk. You're going to have to walk a walk that is so tough. It's so extremely, terribly hard for anybody to walk that so many people are going to give up. So many people are going to fall into that water and drown. So many people are going to, because they're double-minded, fall into that fire and burn. But if you're single-minded, you're able to walk straight down that path. You just have to understand the risk, which is that danger that this is talking about. It's a risky walk. Understand? Like everybody got their own. When you come into this truth, you're gonna find that everybody has a specific fight. A lot of brothers, when we go to camp, you understand that's a tough one, because brothers are getting. I mean, listen. Now we're not gonna be treated like them purple cats. Ain't no old ladies finna come running up on us and throwing shoes at us. It's not gonna happen. Okay, please. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. All right. But then you look at like situations like with the Kentucky 8. Them brothers know every brother that goes to camp knows that every time that we go out to camp, it is a possibility that we could lose our life out there, or at the very minimum go to ground. You understand? Well, them brothers, the Kentucky 8, them brothers went and they had to fight for their life. Just to push the truth, just to teach brothers and sisters who they really are. Teach them that they are the true children of Israel. Teach them that they must keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. And we got to go through things like that. Now, these brothers, I mean, a mob of people attacked them. Now, of course, because the Lord is with us, these brothers came out on top. You understand? These brothers prevailed. But just understand that that's part of the danger. Understand? What else is the danger? Think about what some of the sisters have to go through. You understand? Their families leaving them. Mother upset because, a lot of times it'd be because, maybe their husband has multiple wives or something. I mean, excuse me, multiple wives. And her daughter is one of them. So now, damn, did I say that wrong? I think I said that wrong. A lot of times the sisters' mothers will leave them because they're upset that their sister is one of multiple ribs. That's a terrible thing. But I've seen it happen. You understand? But it ain't got to be about the wives. It could be about anything. The fact that you believe what we teach in the ISUPK is enough for any family member to just leave you completely and never love you again. You understand? And you become a target, right? But that's just something that you have to deal with, man, if you really want the truth. The scriptures, like, just think about what Christ said. Christ said, just remember, because Christ was a prophet, right? He said, just remember, if the world hates you, just remember it hated me first. And that was such good advice, because now when we go into these situations and we realize that everybody hates us when we come into the truth, what immediately snaps us out of whatever funk we in, we just realize that, Christ was hated for me. Christ was hung on a goddamn cross. You understand? He was murdered, right? So when you start to put yourself in that mindset, you start to realize, like, hey, maybe this danger is worth it. If not at all for the reward, right? If not just for the reward of being able to enjoy the deliciousness of the kingdom of heaven, and that reward, at the bare minimum for your brother, man. For Christ, who had to be put to death and murdered in the most cruel and intense way that you could think of. At least for him. Because he did it to give you a goddamn chance to even make it into the damn place. Because Lord knows, brothers and sisters was not going any goddamn where. It wasn't going to be. I don't know. Maybe the Lord would have, canceled the kingdom of heaven, because wasn't nobody coming up in there. You understand? It would have been a kingdom full of peasants, because we was not keeping the law. We wasn't doing what we were supposed to be doing. We didn't understand brotherhood. Christ died so we had a chance to learn. He died so he came here so we can have an example, and died so we can have a chance to learn and fully, immerse ourselves into the truth. You understand? And that's the reason why we're allowed to do any of these things, right? So you can't do that with while being double-minded. You can't say that you love Christ and not do what the hell he tell you to do, right? He said himself, Christ himself said, I think it was in the book of Luke, he said, "Why call you me Lord, Lord, but not do what I say?" That's the perfect, damn, how much more of a cut can you have? You calling on the Most High, you calling on Jesus, all of these things, saying Lord, Lord, but you're not doing a goddamn thing that they say. That's being double-minded. That's that lukewarm that's going to get you put to death, man. Just go be in the Christian church. Be in the Christian church, stay there, and never claim to have the truth. Be like this one Christian that I knew. This one Christian, he said he knew what he was doing was wrong. I said, damn, okay, well, hey, I'll give it to you. I guess that's on y'all, man. You know, in the ISUPK though, we know that what we're doing is right, and that's that hot that the Most High and that Christ is looking for. You understand? Not wavering, not on the fence, not, oh, well, maybe we have some of the truth. No, we have 100% of the truth, all of it. I would never be anywhere that doesn't have 100% of the truth. And that's it. So be single minded and use these examples, use these analogies, right? And use these scriptures to understand how not to be. And then take Christ as an example. Just take Christ, look at what Christ did. He was willing to die for what he believed in. Now, you have to ask yourself, is what you believe in solid enough for you to be willing to die for it? To be written, not just die, I'm talking about Christ was tortured. Is what you believe in solid enough for you to die for it or not? And then once you answer that question honestly in your mind, then you'll know exactly what you need to do to be single-minded, right? With that being said, we're going to go ahead and close out the class. Once again, if you're watching online, our address is at the very bottom of the screen, 12416 North 28th Drive. We're in suite number 4, right off of the corner of 28th Drive and Cactus. And of course, every Tuesday through Friday are our classes from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. I was about to say 7 a.m. Goddamn. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Tuesday through Friday. And then, of course, Sabbath services, which are 10 a.m. to 12 noon every week. All right, with that being said, Shalom Israel.